Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. So today is December 28th and literally is 8:52 p.m. I'm just getting home from working. Um yeah, I just want to say my bad. Okay, girl, because I know it's only about 4 of us here on this channel, but I did say that I was going to do Vlogmas and I didn't do it. So I'm going to do, I don't know, January Miss. I don't know. I'm going to do something else. I'm just going to go back to posting every day like I did in the past. But I don't know, it kind of sucks that I didn't get to do Vlogmas. But it's cool. I'm here today and I want to review this documentary on Netflix by Jonah Hill called Stutz. First of all, Jonah Hill is actually hilarious. He's a great actor, but that's all I know him to do. I didn't know he was a director as well. So to see him produce something so like powerful and to me extremely life-changing and eye-opening, it was pretty cool. So if you don't know, you need to stop this video and go watch the documentary. It's on Netflix. It's called Stutz, Stutz. Girl Z. And it's a documentary. Basically, Jonah Hill sits down with his clinical psychologist named Dr. Stutz, his therapist, and he just kind of interviews him and has a conversation with him. Now, I'm just gonna open up here and start by saying this. I envy Jonah Hill because to have a therapist, and I'm gonna watch it again because it was so good. Watching the documentary and seeing how close this man was with his therapist, it was kind of like, I don't want to say father and son, the combination, because Stutz is older than Jonah, so I think there's like a 20 to 30 year age gap. Girl, that not me telling his tea. Never mind. He 32. They both 32. They twins. But no, I don't know how old he is, but I know that he's definitely more mature than Jonah. Has more experience. But my thing is their relationship. I envy that, and I desperately wish that I had that experience when I was seeking therapy. And I'm saying when because for now I'm just kind of like taking a seat back. I've had so much, happen as far as me seeking help and getting therapy and not finding a good therapist. Like honestly, like I'm to the point where it's like I don't want to say I give up, but I give up. I haven't found a good therapist. Well, I mean, when I say a good therapist, I think that all the therapists I've ever seen are very well qualified, um, academically because in order to practice, they have to complete certain things, and you can see on their websites and stuff, you can kind of see like their credentials. And so every therapist I've ever seen was very, very well qualified and had very impressive credentials. That I can like, period. Um, Now what I I guess what I'm lacking is meeting someone and connecting with them on a spiritual level and like an emotional level. But I guess I'm wondering if that's even practical. I know this is a documentary, it's not real, but like, I mean, it is real, but it's not like in real time. So I don't really know the true dynamic of their relationship. But based on what I saw in the documentary, it appears that Stutz and Jonah Hill are like this close, two peas in a pod. And it's like it was so beautiful to watch, and for me it's something that I envy and I want. I'm jealous of that a lot, and I don't even want to say jealous because like when I think of jealousy I think of someone who's like, I want what you have and I don't want you to have it. But for me it's like, I love that you have that and I want that to be emulated in my life as well. Show me how you did that type stuff. So I don't want to say, I don't think envy is the best word, but like, get so I'm in my bathroom. My office is in my bathroom. So my bathroom is huge. My dog keeps eating my cat's litter. Get Cage. Like, what is that about? Why is he eating his poop? Anyways, um, yeah. So Child, what was I talking about? Yeah, so yeah. So basically, that's a relationship that I'm looking for in a therapist, to be super close. The way that I could describe it, I don't want to say like brother and sister or father and son, because I, closest closest to father and son, but more so like best friend who's super super wise. And you know what it is? This is like a metaphor. It's like if an acorn in a pine. I'm sorry, if a pine in a great pine tree establish a connection. Stutz being the great pine tree, 100 years old, 100-year old, 2-year old pine tree, and Jonah Hill being the pine cone. And the wisdom that comes inside of the pine tree is just like, yo, like out of this world. Like, how do you know this stuff? Like, your brain connects these dots. That's amazing. Like, you're so wise. But Jonah, you're a pine, but you have so much potential. All you gotta do is dig a little hole, pour some water, boom, boom, boom. Couple years, you're gonna be a pine tree too. So it's like such a beautiful connection, such a wonderful thing to see as far as their relationship, in my opinion. And I love the documentary. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm literally so obsessed with it. So yeah, that's my first point. Secondly, I just wanted to say that I think that therapy is so important, and I think it's so important to be kind to one another and consider each other's mental health. Now, Jonah Hill is, to me, a comedian, like, and an actor. Like, in every movie I've ever seen him in, he's always been like super, like, why are you that? You're just funny for no reason. Like, you know what I mean? But then also seeing that he has in the past had issues with social media, talking about his weight, talking about his appearance. To me, it's so lame. You guys know how I feel. Like, and I had to delete those videos of me, like, going in because people kept calling me the FAT word. Whatever. But it's so lame to me to judge each other based off our appearance, because literally it's an outer shell. Like, it does not matter what you look like. I want to know what's inside your heart. And I'm just saying all this to say I never would have considered the depth of how his weight, especially as a man, or his appearance, especially as a man, impacted him. Even though, we could all say, oh, he's a white man, he's privileged. No. We're all human and things hit us differently, you know what I'm saying? So just to see how that kind of impacted him, and to see him talk about it was kind of refreshing. Refreshing to see, like, oh, and I think he said the purpose of the documentary, Jonah said the purpose of the documentary is so other people can see that, like, celebrities have problems too, and, like, we all have issues type thing. Now, to me, I experienced something before I watched this documentary where I kind of had, like, a breakthrough on my own, and it's actually been helping me a lot lately. It's only been like a couple days in since this breakthrough happened, but I think that I kind of, like, approached my shadow self, and I'll talk about this more in another video, but for now I'm just kind of like want to, like, see how it goes and plays out. But I had to look in the mirror, dig deep within myself, and apologize to myself for the treatment that I'd done to myself. And by that I just mean, like, negative self-talk, ruminating, being anxious. We all, like, do this thing. If you have, like, a panic attack or a PTSD attack or anything out of the ordinary, we do this thing where we're just like, okay, something's wrong with me. You need to apologize. If you can relate to that, you need to look in the mirror right now and apologize to yourself, because there's nothing wrong with you. And literally, if you got the flu, if you had the flu and you were laying in bed and you had to take NyQuil, would you tell yourself, oh God, it's something wrong with me because you have the flu? No. No, so if you're depressed or you're having a panic attack, don't tell yourself there's something wrong with me. Be there for yourself, support yourself, love yourself. And I had this like epiphany and like breakthrough, and a lot of other stuff happened, and I'll talk about that later in another video. And it just came out of nowhere, you know? And I'm not saying that I'm completely healed or fixed, but I do feel a lot better compared to where I felt 6 months ago. Girl, like it's like almost offensive. Anyways, I had this breakthrough, right? And then I watched this documentary, and to see Dr. Stutz talk about the shadow self, it made me put two and two together. Like, yo, that's what I went through. Like, I reconnected with my shadow self. So what he said to do is to, you know, to do shadow work, and not like to do not like the stuff you see on TikTok. It's different. Like, it's more like scientific, in my opinion, the way he explains it. And I'm probably butchering it, but girl, that's why you need to go watch the documentary. Okay. Yeah, but I know I'm probably butchering it, so that's why you need to watch the documentary. But like, basically, we all have that negative voice in our heads that's saying something to us, that's being negative to us. And if you've encountered any type of trauma, typically, from what I understood that he was saying, that voice is rooted in the version of yourself that you left behind in that trauma. So for example, girl, y'all know I grew up poor. Okay, the girls was poor. Experiencing poverty, believe it or not, is traumatic. That is trauma. To not have food is traumatic. So if there were nights when I did not have food and I was sad and I was going to bed hungry, bro, first of all, excuse me, to be hungry to the point where your stomach is hurting so badly, that's very traumatic. And I'm sure people have experienced it at a more amplified extent than I have, because I wouldn't say I was starving, but I was definitely malnourished. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is, for example, a person who grows up in poverty, and let's say you're a little girl, you have no food, you have no one to feed you or do anything for you to help you out. That is, in that moment, you're very vulnerable, scared, hungry, depressed, don't even know it because you're a child, you can't put that stuff into words, and anxious. And for me, I just remember developing that voice that kind of started to tell me, like, I deserve this. I literally deserve to starve to death. Like, that's what it's giving. And instead of in that moment where I separated myself, and there's like the joy who's like watching me go through this poverty, and then there's the joy that's experiencing it. And the joy that's watching me go through it is a fucking bully. Like, why are you so mean? She's really mean. She's like telling her, you deserve to be poor. Like, that's your fate. You're gonna die and starve to death. Like, you deserve that. And and she's just sitting there watching. And like, you kind of separate and detach from yourself. And so what Stutz is saying is, the person that's the bully is the shadow. And that person has been left behind or detached from you, and it's been watching you go through so much stuff and been bullying you for going through it. So for example, when women experience trauma and abuse, often we see that they blame themselves. It's because their shadow side is telling them they did something wrong, they deserve that. And then also we have the world that's ignorant as hell that will tell women that they did something wrong, they deserve that. But I hope that I explained it properly. But either way, watch the documentary. It's so good. There was a lot of gems in there, and just watching someone who is super, I wouldn't say like who's super intelligent be like having a spiritual experience on TV was kind of refreshing, was very refreshing, because I've ran into psychiatrists that are like 1000% just like, no, God is like, that's not my tea. I'm here to listen to you about it, but like, God is not real. A psychiatrist told me that God is not real. Like, you know, some psychiatrists or psychologists are just completely science based, and that's fine. But to watch someone who is qualified medically to have certain conversations with you, also be spiritual and believe in God, it's nice. So if you're interested, please watch this Netflix. It's so good. This Netflix documentary is called Stutz. And let's see. I didn't know Jonah Hill's brother passed away. I'm so sorry that happened. I also experienced a death of a sibling. And for me, most of my life I feel like numb. Like I go through the day to day. I think I've said that. I experience a lot of numbness. And for me, I kind of was able to see some of the things that other people experience when they lost a sibling, because they both lost a sibling, and how it, you know, impacted their parents and their parents' relationship with them, and it just put so many things in perspective. And it's like, I'm watching this, and literally these people are both the complete opposite of me. They're two old white, not two old white men, child. I didn't mean to say that. Two older white gentlemen. I'm a young tenderoni, a young black woman. And I'm just saying that to say, like, regardless of our backgrounds or physical differences, so much stuff that was said in that movie I could relate to. And honestly, I almost didn't watch it because of the fact that they're both so different from me, and I didn't think I would be able to relate to it. But I was like, yo, this is real relatable, very relatable. And it's just very interesting to see how much, like, people go through so much stuff, and you will probably never know it. So I think that's why it's so important that we just be kind to one another. That's why it's so important that we just take our time and getting what we need out of a relationship, and also giving what we need to give in a relationship. You know what I mean? So that was my review on Stutz. I'm not going to do a full deep dive breakdown yet. I'm probably going to do that in 2 or 3 weeks when it's been out for a while. But just because it just came out, I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I just think you guys should watch it. And also, I didn't have time to take notes on the documentary yet. So this is my review. If you have any questions, yeah. Oh, one thing that really stood out to me before I go is practicing gratitude. So what I've been doing, and I didn't learn a lot of, that breakthrough that I had. I didn't learn that in therapy. That was all me. So that's why I'm starting to think like we all should have a really good therapist like Stutz. But if it's not attainable, keep searching until you find it. And until then, you can always dig deep and heal yourself, But what I was going to say is, one thing that I do, and I actually shared this with a friend that I met in PHP. One thing that I do is when I feel super, super anxious, or in order to kind of distract myself from having a panic attack, one thing that I do is I basically list out all the things that I'm grateful for in my home. Because to me, having an apartment or having my own home is very, very important. So stability, domestic stability is extremely important to me. That's one thing I don't play about, is where I live. You know what I mean? So whenever I'm feeling like super anxious, I literally list every single thing I can think of in my home. So, for example, if I'm in a room right now, like I'm in my bathroom / office, if I was to start having a panic attack, I would start off like, I'm grateful for these doors. I'm grateful for this desk. And, excuse me, I'm grateful for this computer. I'm grateful for this mirror. Y'all didn't even know I had this, did y'all? I'm grateful for this mirror. You know, and I would go through like things that I see, and it makes me feel better. And eventually, and I did this before watching the documentary, and it's so interesting that like I just naturally did this intuitively, and like he's saying scientifically this is what you need to do in order to feel better. Now that I know that, I'm not gonna just do it when I'm in an emergency. I'm gonna do it every day, you know. Or like, you know, set aside a dedicated time to do it. But anyways, he was saying that, Stutz was saying that, go through things you're grateful for, imagine things you're super, super grateful for, and go through and list them out. I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for this because it makes me feel like this. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for my diaries that I've had since I was 7 years old because it allows me to reflect and see my inner child or my mindset that I had when I was a kid. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful. And you just continue until you get to the point where you kind of feel, you know, gratitude. Ooh. Sorry. You know, gratitude is something that is like, hold on. So gratitude is something that's like super positive, right? So it makes you feel better to the point where you kind of like light up. You kind of like, you know, sit up straighter. Your voice starts to project more. It's something in it that kind of raises the vibrational frequencies, and just being grateful. And just practicing gratitude. So you continue to do this thing where you're listing out the things you're grateful for until you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm just going to focus on this emotion of gratitude, this emotion that I feel. And for me personally, whenever I do this, I feel lighter. I feel like I'm flying. I feel like I'm in an elevated space. You know, I feel lighter. I feel more ambitious. I feel more things are possible. And then excuse me. And then just focus on that feeling and stay there. And then you gotta watch the documentary to kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay, so that was this for this video. Sorry I didn't do Vlogmas. Well, today's the 28th, so this is the 28th day of Vlogmas, child. I did not get myself anything for Christmas yet. My Christmas gifts are coming in the New Year's when I get my Christmas gift checked. Okay, period. Okay, thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and watch the documentary. And I'm also going to be doing in my next video a book review. This book that someone gave me 2 years ago that I never read, but I'm just starting to read it, and it's actually really good. And I'm like, why didn't I read this before? It's very insightful. But anyways, coming soon, I'm gonna do that book review. Probably not in my next video because I don't think I'll be done it by tomorrow, but be on the lookout for that.